Here with Brett Muller to preview the 2020-21 Concordia golf seasons, which of course get started in the fall and hopefully finish in the spring. It didn't work out that way last season, but what stood out to you most maybe about how things shut down and how your team handled that whole thing?
Yeah, it was obviously very disappointing last year. Our men's team had just returned from our spring break trip down in Arizona, and we got back on Thursday, and basically on Friday, the whole NAIA had shut down, and we really didn't have a lot of closure as far as meeting with the team face to face. We did the best we could over Zoom, held team meetings, individual meetings via Zoom throughout the rest of the second semester. But yeah, it was pretty unfortunate.
Now, looking first at the women's side, some really positive things happened in the fall last year. You won a tournament in Lincoln that was hosted by Nebraska Wesleyan. We're second at another tournament. We're third in the conference. What kind of boost did that give the program heading into this year?
Yeah, so like you said, last year we were at third at the halfway point of the GPAC, which eventually became the end game for the GPAC. But I think we showed some good things. Kind of took that next step to compete towards the top in some tournaments. The tournament win was awesome. It was also Kendra's first individual win of her career. So yeah, we definitely moving in the right direction.
You mentioned Kendra Plackey at a dynamic duo, I guess you could say, with her and Murphy Sears at the top, and Kendra's back, and we know she's a very powerful off the tee. What are maybe some things she could do to possibly compete for a conference championship at some point?
Yep. So the conference gets tougher every year, especially at the top. But Kendra has worked very hard. Has definitely seen some improvement in her short game. Has kind of been a hole in her game is around the greens, and you can definitely tell she's put in some time there and is continuing to improve there. You had mentioned Murphy. Murphy was someone that played in the number 1 and number 2 spot all 4 years. 4-time all conference performer. So she'll be a tough one to replace.
Here at Concordia, we have a couple new student athletes that came to us from Concordia, Portland, and one of them is Mia Martin, who you have a chance to have on your team this year. How did she end up here, and what do you expect her to bring to the team?
Yeah, so obviously with, like you said, Concordia, Portland closing down, she has a friend that's going to compete on the track and field team. That was kind of really her connection to Concordia University, Nebraska. Very fortunate to have her here. She's fit in great with the girls. She's a very solid player, and definitely somebody we'll look forward to help us continue to rise.
We'll get to the men's side here in a second, but lastly with the women, like you said, third place in the GPAC, and probably had a chance to maybe get up to second if you had the spring season. Mm-hmm. But what do you talk about as expectations for them this season?
Yeah, so last year we had some freshmen that really improved from the fall to the spring. Coach Berner does a fantastic job in the weight room. Had some girls that haven't really been in the weight room before that added some yardage. Lauren Havlet had a great off season. Last spring, she played a lot of golf this summer and is playing well this fall. So really looking forward to her to kind of take the next step.
And the men were the only ones that got a chance to do something in the spring with the trip they had. And what were some of your takeaways from that you could maybe build upon?
Yeah, Drew had a fantastic spring. He worked very hard with his swing coach, Ryan Norman. So he really has high expectations for himself. He played a lot of NGA events, a lot of amateur events this summer. So I know he's very excited and has really put in some extra time and extra work since the fall last year.
Mm-hmm. You did lose some key guys from the lineup, but what do you have to do? Who has to maybe step up a little to to try to make a jump in the conference.
Yep. So, very similar to the women's side. Tyler Somick was in our top 5 for the last 4 years. He was a part of a lot of school records that were set over his career. So he'll be a tough guy to lose just with the experience that he has brought the last 4 years. Definitely a guy we could count on. Kind of looking at this year, I think we have a good mix of newcoming guys and returners. I think a lot of the returners have improved from last year. That's always good to see. And I think we do have some very capable freshmen that'll be pushing for some top 5 spots.
So golf is one of those sports that through this whole thing was maybe a little easier to compete at the last several months. How have some of your players been able to take advantage of that over the summer?
Yeah, so obviously with campus kind of getting shut down, I think we've had a lot of guys that have played a lot of golf since end of March through the summer, and then coming back. The one tough part is the golf courses are busier than they have been in the past, but there's with the social distancing, on a golf course that should be pretty attainable.
This is kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on is how things are different for you. Like you said, that it's kind of some natural social distancing with the way golf is played, but how do things look different, if at all?
Yep, so on the driving range, when we're there warming up, and on the putting green, our guys will be wearing a mask. Guys and ladies will be wearing a mask as they warm up, and then once they get out on the course and kind of start their round, then they're able to take the mask off and social distance from there. We won't be doing a pre-round rules meeting collectively as an entire tournament, and then on the other hand, when we finish, we won't be having an award ceremony at the end. But just kind of taking those precautions to do all we can.